Today, we're setting the foundation for an incredible journey from startup to software powerhouse. In this episode, we'll be setting up our business and sharing some of the best strategies for getting started strong. We'll dive into choosing ideal traits and founders to give us that winning edge, then jump into some contract work to build our reputation and secure a solid foothold in the industry. Our goal, to build up a $3 million nest egg, setting the stage for us to start creating our own innovative products down the line. So let's get started and turn Bamboo Labs into the next big name in tech. Hello and welcome back to Software Inc. and our brand new company, Bamboo Labs. This series is going to be designed for the newer player. We're going to take you through the game on hard difficulty, which honestly is not that difficult. So we'll get through that. And I'm going to explain as much as I possibly can, but if you do have any questions about anything I'm doing in the game, please do leave those in the comments down below and I will get back to you, or someone in our lovely community will get back to you. So let's go over our starting setup. We are, of course, Bamboo Labs. That is our company name. Our logo is this nice little logo here. If you want to find it yourself, just search for 12 and it will come up. It's literally just called 12. It's one of the most popular logos on the Steam Workshop at the moment. You can download them directly from this tab, so if you feel the need to download yourself a logo, just go in here and find one you like. If you want to refresh the page, just click this button up here. Pretty straightforward. This is ChubbyPanda. He is our founder because he is me, and these are his traits. So he is optimistic and goofy. The reason I chose those is because I feel like that's the best general combination for getting along with pretty much everyone. With that, he is also a big brain, which means he has no points limit in his highest skill down here. We'll get to this in just a second. He is also capacitor, which means he doesn't get tired until energy is completely drained, which is going to allow us to have longer shift times and increase our productivity overall. Because he has 2 green traits here, means he also needs to have 2 red traits. So he is silent but deadly. No one wants to take the elevator with him, and he won't use cars, so he'll walk. But realistically, that's not going to make that much of a difference in the long run. As for his skills down here, he is focused on game design because I felt like making a little bit of a game design company this time around. We didn't really focus too much on games in our last playthrough. He has creativity inspiring, so he's going to be our lead designer to start off with. Because he has the most skill in designer, and you can change that by just dragging these up and down. Designer is technically higher than programmer and artist, even though they're all practically the same. He can have all of the skills in here. So we're actually leaving hardware blank just to leave him with some extra skills to go into networking and other things like that once we get there. And we're not really going to be using ChubbyPanda here to build any hardware anyway, so these are a little bit irrelevant. But then he also has 3 stars in system, 2 stars in 2D, and 2 stars in audio under programming, and 2 stars in 2D and 1 star under audio for artist. Jumping down into his leadership skills, he's probably never going to use these, but they're filled out anyway, just in case. And he has 3 stars in support, even though he's not particularly good at it. And for this series, because we are doing a little bit more of a beginner-friendly playthrough, we are starting with a second founder. This is Sage. She is also goofy and optimistic, but she has capacitor, which is the don't get tired until energy is completely drained. She also has born leader, because as you can see down here, she is going to be the leader of our team. And she also won't use cars, which is absolutely fine. She can take the bus. That's not a big deal. Her development skills are very much the same as ChubbyPanda's. She obviously doesn't have big brain to give her the bonus points in designer or programmer. That is absolutely fine. The only real difference here is she has 2 stars in audio art rather than 2 stars in 2D art, just to make sure that we always have a 2-star artist in both 2D and audio. As for her leadership skills, they are the same as ChubbyPanda, but she'll actually be using hers. So we have 3 stars in HR, which means she can handle complaints and salaries, she can handle education, and she can handle hiring. We also have 3 stars in automation, which means she can do project management, which is going to be very, very important. She can deal with sequels, iterations, and frameworks within project management, and she can also handle post-release tasks like support and updates and things of that nature. She also has 1 star in socialization just to boost team compatibility a little bit. Nothing in multitasking, but that will be absolutely fine. In service, she also has 3 stars in support because she will also be working on some support tickets in the background in the early days until we get a support team up and running. And that's basically it for our setup. We're running on just the standard hard difficulty, which gives us $10,000 and all of these different modifiers. You'll feel free to pause the video here and read through these if you are interested. Pretty standard stuff. And yeah, we're just going to jump straight in. We're going to, I have not used all my specialization points. I'm just going to show you what that means real quick. That is just these designer ones here. We could fill this up all the way, but I don't actually want to. That is absolutely a-okay. So we're going to say, yes, I want to continue. And in Software Inc. tradition, we are going to start in Garage Inc. As soon as we get into the game, we're going to hit pause. And then we're going to hit Q to go page down to see our actual building. Then we will hit tab or this build mode button over here to jump into build mode. Then we can slide this slider all the way over to Sunny so we can see what we're actually doing. The first thing I like to do in Garage Inc. is go ahead and lease this office here. Because ChubbyPanda is a lead designer and he's a little bit picky because he's kind of good at his job. So he wants to have a private office. And this back room right here is going to be his private office. So we're going to start off with 2 desks. Hold down Shift in order to place multiple copies of an item. And then he needs a PC, which can go straight in there. Click and drag to rotate items around or press R. And of course, he's going to need a chair. Now, we could go for the ergonomic chair, but it costs $2,000. The ergonomics are good. It will give them a little bit of a boost, but I like to start off with the executive chair. I don't think we need much more than that. Now, if we click on this room here, you'll see these down here. We have lighting tab, environment tab, temperature tab, and acoustics. Currently, they're not too bad, but they're not great. First thing we want to get up is our environment. And we can do that in a number of different ways. One of the first ones, of course, is things like plants. And I see no reason why he shouldn't have a plant. To toggle walls on and off, press T. Pressing T once hides the exterior walls. Pressing T again hides all walls. And then pressing T again hides whatever that last one was, the doors. And then pressing it once more brings them all back. So we'll have a little plant in there. We're going to want a clock in this room as well. And what the clock does is it actually gives us a effectiveness, and I think the mood boost is from the plant, but this gives us an effectiveness boost. So that's just going to make our employees 15% more efficient. And then we're going to want to come in with a bookshelf, which is going to give the room another boost, which is going to be the skill boost, which gives us a plus 25 to skills. And then if we click on this room, you can see our environment is at 200%. That is the max you can get, so we don't need to do anything more than that for environment in this room. This is perfectly fine. And we also have 100% acoustics just by filling up the room with stuff. So that is all ChubbyPanda needs for his office, but I would like to add one more thing. I'm going to add a little table in here, and then we're going to search for a server. And I'm going to put a small server right here. Now, if we jump back into this room, our acoustics haven't gone down, but if we hit Y, I believe it is, I can't actually remember what the button is. We come into this tab here and say noise overlay. You can see where all our noises are coming from, and a lot of noise is going to come from this server. So what we can do is we can grab a separator, I think it's called. I can't remember what it's called now. It's called a cubicle wall. And we can go ahead and throw that in there. That is going to block some of the noise from this server getting to ChubbyPanda. And that is exactly what we want. And U was the hotkey for that in case you were curious. But that is ChubbyPanda's office all said and done. The next thing we need is somewhere for our other employee to sit. And that is literally just going to be in this back corner. If you click and shift click on multiple items, you can go ahead and copy them. Control C and Control V is copy, or Control C actually. You don't need Control V at all. And that just copies that out to be good. We're going to grab the cubicle wall, throw that in there. They're going to sort of be in the corner for the moment. Now we will need a couple more things in here. We're going to throw down 2 tables. And on those tables, we are going to put a fridge. Just a mini fridge is absolutely fine. And a coffee machine. Espresso machine, to be precise. Just so that our employees have a little bit more energy throughout the day. Then, of course, we need to do the exact same thing that we did in the other office. Throw down a clock. Basically, anywhere you can fit one. We actually can't. We have run out of money. Which is interesting because I've built this before and not had a problem. I guess it's because I put the server in and the server costs $2,000. So we actually have everything we need right now to get started. This room actually already has 200% for its environment. The acoustics aren't fantastic in this room, but we're just going to have to make do because we are currently in debt. So we'll hit tab, hit T a couple times to bring the walls down. And then there is a couple of things we need to do before our employees get here. We want to set up 10-hour shifts. So we want them to go home at 6 p.m. They'll come in at 8, leave at 6. That is a painful shift, but they are going to be happy enough to do it. Then I'm going to come into vacation and I'm going to say, you guys can vacation anytime you want. No limit. Absolutely fine. We're going to jump into the team. We have our core team, which is going to be all of our current employees. We're going to go to manage roles and make sure Sage is set to be a leader first, service second, and then third will be programming, designing, and artistry. We want her to do these in the background because she's not going to have a lot to do at the very start. And then we want to make sure that ChubbyPanda is only doing service when he doesn't have something else to do. So right-clicking these goes back and forth between secondary, left clicking goes back and forth between main roles. So right clicking there to set him as secondary. That's pretty much it. The only other thing we're going to do right for the start to get some contract work underway is set these guys to only have one task running at a time. That is extremely important if you want to be efficient with your contract work. So that is all set up. We can also technically go in here and already set up some HR stuff, but I'm not going to worry about that just yet because I don't want them leaving randomly to go do education and things like that. We need a little bit bigger of a team before we can handle that. So with that all said and done, we are pretty much ready to rock and roll. The only things that I like to do now is set up my UI a little bit. So I like to come in here to the All Companies tab, uncheck everything and only show me the logo, the name, the worth, when it was founded, how many products you have, how much of your shares are listed, how many I own, and then also put on chart details, product, and timeline. And that organizes it something like this so you can keep it nice and small. Then, if you sort by the most recently founded, any new companies that pop up here are fantastic investments 95% of the time. Sometimes you'll lose a little bit of money, but most of the time you are going to make your money back tenfold. Maybe not tenfold, that might be an exaggeration, but at least threefold. So we'll leave that open there. Everything else is set up and ready to go. We just need to go ahead and accept some contracts. So you can see these contracts here are pretty self-explanatory. They're all about 1 month projects. We're going to get $12,000 for these, $8,000 for this one. They only require a single system programmer of any level. I think this one's probably going to require a 2D artist. This one system, And you can see over here, the expected quality is mediocre, bad, and horrible. So we can go ahead, accept all 4 of those. That is absolutely no problem at all. Because we have them set up to do one task at a time, this one won't get started until this one is finished. So without further ado, we can go ahead and start running the game a little bit here. Wait for our people to get in, and they are in. Now, sometimes it is a little bit buggy with how this works, and you can see that we have accidentally started all 3 of these. It's not going to be a problem. We're going to finish these all by like lunchtime anyway, so nothing to worry about there. Because we accepted those contracts as well, we can actually jump back into build mode here and finish out this room that we didn't quite get to finish, because I don't love it the way that it is. We're going to bring these walls back up. We'll throw a plant in the corner there, grab ourselves a bookshelf for, I don't know, this wall. That'll be absolutely fine. That gives us our skill and mood boost. We just need to grab ourselves a nice little clock for the wall, and we can just grab the one from over here, put it directly across from the other one. That gives us all of our boosts. The only thing we're sort of missing is our acoustics, and I'm just going to enclose our coffee machine and fridge to be in there. And actually, you know what we could do? If we grab this and press M, moves it, then we can go ahead and rotate this with our comma and period keys. That can go there, move that one to there. Grab this mini fridge, face it this way. Grab this espresso machine, face it that way. Let's just double check that that does actually have room. And it does. People can access that from there. And that, in theory, should help our acoustics a little bit. It's going to make our staff have to move a little bit weirdly to get in there, but I'm absolutely okay with that. And with that all being said, this is now at 200% and 100% acoustics. We should have a much better time. The only thing left to add to this office is our desk accessories. Now, ChubbyPanda is going to be basically our programmer, our designer, and our artist. So there are a couple of options. We could go for the drawing tablet, which boosts artist a lot. Calculator is pretty good. It boosts programming quite a substantial amount. The inbox is fantastic for anyone who's an all-rounder, so this is definitely going to be what Sage gets, just because it boosts leader the most. And then we have headphones, which just adds noise cancelling. So I'm thinking ChubbyPanda is probably going to get himself a calculator to boost programming a little bit. And then jump back out of build mode, put our walls down, and I'm going to show you how to fulfill these contracts as quick as possible. We're going to run this at 2 times speed. This fills up very, very quickly. As soon as we complete one iteration, we're going to promote it. As soon as we get that past that blue line, we're going to promote it and finish it. That was effectively outstanding quality. If we jump into our contracts and look at our completed, quality assessment, outstanding, 1 month early, no bugs, just easy money and easy business reputation. Our goal here is to get our business reputation up as high as we can while raising some capital to start working on our own projects. So I'm going to go ahead, do a couple of days of... Oh, I pressed that too early. So that is not fantastic. If you press it too early and we look at our contract work, you can see the one we just did is technically incomplete. So that was inadequate. We still made money on it, so not too much of a loss, but our business reputation would have gone down a little bit from doing that. So keep that in mind. Be a little bit careful as you do this. You need to wait for it to get past this blue line before you promote and then finish. And that's it. We're just going to do this for a little bit here. Promote and finish. Now, it's the end of the day, technically, and our employees have basically nothing to do. Because we jump into contract work, we currently have no more available. That sort of just is what it is. What you can actually do is go ahead, right click or shift click both employees, and then in here somewhere, we should have send employee home. That'll just send them home for the day so that they're not just hanging around. And once they're gone, you'll see this button pop up, keypad 5 to skip unused time. This will just skip to the very next morning and we can continue our work. So it is now 6 a.m. We'll hit pause again and same thing. We'll accept all of these contracts, wait for them to get in, finish them out, and yeah, we're going to jump into a little bit of a time lapse as I knock out some contracts, and then we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, we're now above 2 stars. It is March of 1980, and we've got some new contracts that we can't actually complete yet. We have embedded systems, I should say. These are manufacturing contracts. We currently don't have any manufacturing infrastructure set up, so we can't accept these. But we can go ahead and continue to complete any of our coding contracts. Now, keep in mind, as your business reputation raises, people are going to expect better quality. So you can see this logistics application here is expecting mediocre quality. The rest are still bad, but I'm going to do this one first, just so that I can remember that it is actually requiring a little bit more effort. And if it's mediocre, I like to give it an iteration and a half before we promote it, and then give it a little bit past the blue line just to make sure that we are giving them the quality that they deserve. So we'll develop it there, and then I'll probably wait till it gets about halfway before promoting this, double check there's no bugs to be fixed, and go from there. So they're actually going home already. I think just in order to save a little bit of time here, I'm going to promote this now. I think it will be absolutely fine. We're going to finish it. It says outstanding quality, so we are absolutely happy with that. You can see I have only one incomplete, and that was my mistake before. So that is absolutely fine. And we can go ahead and accept these other contracts now before we tick over to the next day, so that we have some extra contracts should we finish early. So it is now the next day. We can come back in here and have a look at what is going on. So we have another game assets, mediocre, 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 and mediocre. So they're all expecting a little bit more quality right now. I'm going to finish out these ones first because these all didn't really care about quality that much. And then we'll jump into the mediocre ones and put in a little bit more effort. Something to keep in mind, it's not super important if you do deliver a less than great product to them. Just keep an eye on your notifications over here, and you'll see it says outstanding quality here. If you don't deliver what they're expecting, it'll have something different. Just keep an eye on that, and then you should be absolutely fine. So we'll get these done. We'll jump into a time lapse. I'll do a whole bunch more contracts, and we'll be back in a little bit. And as you can see here, we did have one with inadequate quality, but really it's not going to affect us all that much. We're just going to continue to take as many of the contracts that are bad, get those out of the way, because they typically pay the most because you can knock them out super fast. And then we'll go ahead and accept the rest of these contracts. And I imagine we'll probably have 2 to 3 months work just in these contracts alone. But you can see we're already up to $160,000 in the bank. So we're slowly but surely building up that kitty. I'll be back once we have probably 6-star business reputation, or as soon as we see a new company emerge on the market. Okay, we actually took too long on this project. You can see right here, this is due this month, and we're only about halfway done. Now, we could promote this now and have an incomplete contract, or we could deliver it a month late. I personally prefer to deliver it a month late, just because I like to have everything fulfilled that I can. So we'll skip to the next day. This is now 1 month overdue. These are all due this month, which is actually a little bit scary. I don't understand why they started these. They shouldn't have, just because we only have one thing at a time running, but it is what it is, and we're going to have to deal with the consequences here. The consequences won't be too dire, but it is a little bit annoying. So we'll go ahead and promote, finish that, and then smash these out a little bit faster than we normally would. And we'll probably lose some stars in this process, but you know what? it is what it is. We're going to make up that 6 stars business reputation really quick anyway. Just be a little bit mindful not to take too many contracts at once. And if you are struggling to keep up with your contracts and you want to do more, go ahead and hire yourself an employee. The first employee that I like to hire is a designer with a secondary skill of programmer. That basically is just going to be an all-rounder. I like to hire these guys with a high salary range. That's just going to give you better employees overall. We're going to make sure we filter by compatibility with our core team. This is going to mean they're going to have similar attributes to our core team. We can then also filter by specialization. System is going to be the most important. Put that all the way up the top, pretty much 9 times out of 10, unless you're doing something very specific. From there, we're interested in 2D, and then we're also a little bit interested in audio. Leave hardware out, we don't need it. And then we can also filter by traits. Now, 2 of the worst traits you can get are cup holder, because they occasionally break their computer, and that's very annoying, and forgetful. Sometimes they forget their specialization. We don't want either of those. So at this point, we can begin looking. It's also important to keep in mind that the higher your business reputation is, the better applicants you are going to find. So we have Sunshine and Unfazed and a Slow Eater. We also have Walk It Off, Snail Face, Snail Pace, and Unfazed. They're both decent. I mean, neither of them are fantastic. Neither of them are horrible. I think we'll probably end up doing it with Walk It Off and Gavin, just because he has a little bit more programming skill than Kathy. And I don't see a reason why we shouldn't just hire them right now. It's going to tell us that we have limited funds to sustain our company if we hire Gavin. We are absolutely sure that we want to continue. Now, we need to jump back into build mode and go ahead and get him a desk. So we can just copy this setup and put it right next to Sage's setup here, and that will be absolutely fine. The other thing that I did actually forget to do, which didn't matter until now, is go ahead, right click on this chair and say, assign this furniture to ChubbyPanda. He needs his own private office in order to be happy, so keep that in mind. With that all said and done, we are ready to have our new employee join our roster. Now, he's not going to be super happy because he doesn't have the capacitor trait, and our shifts are 10 hours long. We're just going to sort of deal with that for a little bit, hope that he doesn't complain too much. We do have coffee. We do have a mini fridge for him to bring food in from home, so he should be okay. But we'll see how it goes. So we'll let this run. He probably won't come in today because we hired him too late. Never mind, I stand corrected. We hired him just early enough to get him in for the day, and he's going to help us complete these contracts. Get them done in a nice, timely manner. And he'll pay for himself. He'll absolutely pay for himself. We don't have to pay our founders. Well, we kind of do, but we'll get into that a little bit more later. Technically, we pay our founder, ChubbyPanda doesn't get paid at all. But Sage will take 50% in dividends of her stake. So if we jump in here, and you can see in July we made some money, so we actually ended up having to pay Sage $1,200 for that month. We can get around that a little bit later on, but for now, that is just what it is. That's money that we're going to lose. She is bringing more value to the table than we are paying her, essentially. And you might also notice that our office is getting very, very dirty. And that was a quick one. We will fix that in just a minute here. So we're getting a couple inadequate qualities. Our business reputation isn't really falling that much, so I'm not too concerned about it. Everything is overdue. We definitely took way more contracts than we should have, but it's going to be absolutely fine. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. This is now 2 months overdue, but like I said, it is what it is. So we'll go ahead and develop this, get this out the door, and then we'll start to accept some new contracts. And I need to remember to not skip the end of the day here, if I can, because I like to do that nice and quick, and then I always forget. Okay, so it's basically the end of the day. These guys are about to go home. Our office is a complete mess. So we are going to jump into manage staff here. We're going to call a cleaner. We're going to call IT support. The cleaner is obviously going to come in and clean up our office. IT support is going to jump onto these computers here. And you can see the state is currently 55%. That means it's slowing down our work overall. The IT guy will come in, fix up these computers for us. The cleaner will come in, fix all this stuff, and that will be good. Maintenance is for things like espresso machines and fridges. We don't quite need them just yet, but that is all complete, so that is absolutely a-okay. All right, now that we have some business reputation, even though we did lose some, and we've been losing money because we did a terrible, terrible job on those contracts. You can see these were late. Technically, we made money on that. Yeah, it's not good. We lost money. That's all I'm saying. So what I like to do is to get things done quickly. So if we have a look in here, we have a whole bunch of 1 month ones. These all require good quality. This one's technically mediocre, but we're just going to treat them all like they're good. We'll accept all of those, and I'm going to leave these to do 2 iterations before we promote, do up to the blue bar and a little bit before we promote, make sure there's no bugs, and then deliver it, and that should be fine. Especially now that we have that 3rd team member, we'll be able to knock this out in absolutely no time. So now I'm going to jump into actually, before I do that, there is an important thing to note here. We have a new company on the horizon. We jump into details here. We can expand this out a little bit. They are a brand new company. They're not currently publicly listed, but they will be next month. They are a game design company, which is a direct competitor to us. They have a fairly decent lead designer, although the difference between 75% creativity and 95% creativity is, well, 94% creativity is actually the same. This is the thing you're looking for here. They are inspiring. They're not visionary. So they're good, but they're not fantastic. They currently don't have anything on the market, but we want to keep an eye on these guys as soon as they open for trading. So I like to shrink this all the way down and throw it right over here. This way we can see whenever they become publicly listed, we can immediately buy some shares, and I'll show you that when it comes up, but we'll just time lapse through this day. Okay, it is a new day. They still haven't released a product, but they're selling their shares for 0.4% of their company. We can buy for $1,500. We have $1,500 to spend. So we are absolutely going to do that, and I'll come back at the start of the next day and show you how this is going to work. All right, so their stock dropped. That is okay. It's currently worth $876, but as soon as these guys release a product, which they just did, we jump into their products. They just released a game, has inspiring creativity, good quality. Their marketing's not quite there yet, but that is absolutely okay. These guys should grow exponentially. So we're going to continue this, keep working on our contracts, and keep an eye on this company. All right, so their stocks dropped again, but that is okay. That is absolutely okay. We own 0.4% of this company. They're going down, but their products in time, their marketing is now prominent. This should overall go up. So we're absolutely fine. We're going to keep taking contracts here. And I kind of like the game assets ones. So we're going to take those and continue on. Okay, another thing to talk about here. We were just fined $902 for failing to file a tax report. Now, that's going to happen for your first few years until you get an accounting team. It's not currently worth us getting an accounting team to deal with taxes. So we are just taking a loss on the fact that we're not reporting, and that is absolutely a-okay. So you can see this year so far, we've made $57,000. Our operation has costed us $46,000. Balance is $10,000 in profit. We need to pay 22% tax on that, which equals $2,200. That just comes out automatically. Don't worry about it yet. We'll get to that later on. I promise. Okay, we're at the end of the day. We have no more contracts to do. They still have an hour's worth of work left. I'm not going to start a new contract in that time, so I'm going to send them home for the day. You can see this is still going down, but we do have a new company on the horizon. So we'll open them up, have a look. They are 94% operating system, which is good to know. Technically, it's a console operating system, which is a little bit worse than a PC one, but keep an eye out for operating systems because they tend to make big money. So we're going to leave this up here and we'll go ahead and buy those as well once they start to trade and go from there. Okay. No, we're not. So you'll notice that some brand new companies come in with a net worth of like $200,000. Some of them come in with a net worth of $200 million. We cannot afford to buy any stocks in this company just yet. So we're going to close that out and forget that we even saw it. Just don't worry about it. It's absolutely a-okay. We're just going to continue on with our contract work. You can see our business reputation is slowly but surely going up. We're almost at 5 stars. We'll get this to 6 stars before we start developing our own software. We also need to remember to call in a cleaner every now and then to make sure our office is nice and tidy. Okay, so this company here, Brainwardy or whatever it is, has started to sell some more shares. So we'll go ahead and buy those and continue on. All right, we have a new thing that has just popped up. This is wage negotiations. Because we have an employee, they are going to want a raise at the end of each year, ideally. They are on our core team. They're doing pretty much everything. They're 49 years old. They've been with the company for 1 year. Salary is currently $11,757 a year or a month. I'm not sure. I think that's a month, which is actually insane. And they want an extra $365 per month. Generally, you just want to accept all of these unless they're completely outlandish. We are getting very close to 6-star business reputation. In terms of our contracts, I've started accepting some longer term contracts just because these 1-month ones really weren't doing it much anymore and they weren't bringing in enough profit. We also have some exciting news down here. Our Brainwardy company that we have invested in has started to go up, which is absolutely fantastic. If we look at their products, we now have profit on their baby legacy game, and in turn, their profits have gone up and they've got more stocks for sale. So we could spend $40,000 for 13% of their company. This will also allow us to get dividends from this company. Currently, we are getting dividends, but we're only getting $346 per month, roughly. That'll fluctuate depending on what they're doing in the market. But we have $150,000 in the bank. I'm absolutely a-okay spending $40,000 to get 13% of this company. So we'll go ahead and buy that. Our stocks are now worth $47,000. And if we jump up here, you can see our stocks are worth $47,000. And our total worth is $157,000. So we'll keep this running. We'll keep doing contracts until we get up to 6 stars. And then we will go from there. Another little tip that I just wanted to throw in, just a little bonus tip. If you have someone doing bug fixes on a contract and you go ahead and accept another contract on top of that, that'll put it in the queue. And because our team is currently set to only work on one task at a time, once there are no more bugs left in this program, they'll start working on this. And that's how you can be sure that there are no bugs in your delivery. So you'll notice this number climbing at the moment. And as soon as this starts to go, this will stop climbing. And that means it is completely done. There might be a few bugs in this program because this was a longer contract, but we'll keep this moving here. And as soon as they start working on this, that means this has no more bugs and we can safely ship it without being penalized. Because if we jump into our completed contracts here, you can see bug penalty, 0 times 30. So any bugs that you have will cost you $30 in profit, basically. Sometimes it's not worth fixing all of the bugs. Also, a computer is getting very slow because I forgot to call IT. I'll make sure to do that at the end of today. Like this, if they don't get these all finished by the end of the day, I'll probably end up just shipping it and saying it's good enough, we'll take the penalty, just so they can start working on something else. And that is exactly what we're going to be doing. It was shipped with satisfactory quality, but it had 142 more bugs. Now, that technically cost us 10 grand, but if you think about the fact that we're paying our staff 11, 12 grand a day, is it really worth spending another 2 days to get all the bugs out of this? I don't think so. This in total made us $231,000 just on its own. So that 10 grand penalty really isn't that important. And it is the end of the day, so we will go ahead and hire IT support, and we'll just double check that we'll call maintenance. Our mini fridge is currently at 50%, and we may as well get cleaning at the same time. I'm going to pause for just a second here. So you may have noticed that I've started taking some of the longer contracts. I think I might have even mentioned it. The reason I did that is because they pay significantly better. That is the main reason. They're going to give you a little bit less business reputation, I believe, overall, but just because you can't smash out as many of them. But they definitely pay better. And currently they're paying enough that I think we can actually go ahead, jump into build mode, grab ourselves all of these things, copy that over, and grab ourselves another employee. Jump back out of build mode, grab hire employees, and I like to change these up. So every now and then I like to have designer as the main role and then programmer as the secondary. And then every now and then just change it, swap them over, just so you've got a nice mix. We're going to keep these exactly the same: system, 2D, and then audio. These are all fine. We'll go ahead and begin looking. We actually have an RGB thumb, which is fantastic. These guys will fix their computer while they're using it. Great to have. Their skill isn't quite there though. If we jump into this guy is a fast learner, which will increase the rate at which he gets specialization points. So that's definitely good to have. They are a slow eater, but they are also modest. Both of these guys are modest. Modest is a great trait to have because they have below average salary requirements. You remember our first employee that we hired was around $11,000, I think, per month. This guy's only about 8, so saving us a ton of money. This guy can do a little bit of artist work, which is good to have. So I think I am actually going to go with the lower skill employee. Their skill really isn't that much lower because they spread it more towards designer and give us a little bit of artist. So we'll go ahead and hire Jackson to our team. Now we need to make sure we come in here and manage our roles because these guys shouldn't be doing everything. So Gavin and Jackson can currently do programming, designing, and art. We will also get them to do service, but we're only going to get them to do service on their down. Actually, no, they can just do service all the time. It's fine. That's absolutely fine. We still want to have this at one max task, and we'll keep it running. He's going to come in tomorrow because we hired him halfway through the day. That is absolutely fine. You can notice now that our stocks are currently up 450%. So those stocks that were worth 50 grand before are now worth $250,000. So if we want to sell these at any point and grab ourselves $250,000, we absolutely can. Hopefully these just continue to rise. They're also paying us $13,000 a month in dividends, which is enough to cover one of our employees. And this is generally going up. Sometimes you'll see dividends in the negative. That is because we are paying Sage a dividend from our own profits. But for the most part, these are going to go up. So that's fantastic. We're going to continue on. We're so close to 6 stars. We'll get there very, very soon. I'm also going to make a quick point here. These are now expecting great quality, so I'm going to let these run for 3 total iterations before we promote them to the development stage, just so that we make sure that we're getting as much as we can out of these guys and making sure that our business reputation continues to climb. All right, I was just thinking about calling another emergency cleaner. I think instead we're going to actually hire one because I like to have my office clean and I don't like to do it manually. So we're going to go ahead and hire a full-time cleaner. They're going to come in every day at 8 a.m. We're going to tell them to leave when they're finished because there really isn't going to be that much cleaning to do, and that will be a-okay. The other thing that I did is there is another company on the radar. They were founded in October of 1982. We've gone ahead and bought ourselves 0.4 of a share for, I think it was like $1,500. That is already doubled, so that is fantastic. Hopefully that continues to climb. They're already paying us dividends. We'll go ahead and continue to buy all of the stocks we can from both of these guys just to keep our pockets lined that little bit nicer. We do need to go ahead and accept ourselves a brand new contract. And honestly, I'm looking for anything that doesn't have outstanding quality as a expected quality. And it looks like really not a lot of them. This one is not too bad. 7 months, $392,000 profit. The other thing that I have not been doing is setting our SCM down here. So I'm going to close this for a second and just explain this. If we jump into our servers, we can go ahead and call this our SCM server. We'll go ahead and rename that. This server basically allows all of our programmers to access things at the same time, just so that we're not like sending files back and forth to each other. It's all centrally located on that server. When we go ahead and set that server to the contract, you'll see here, Source Control Management. That's what SCM stands for. Have all project files synchronized in one place. This reduces bugs and makes your employees more efficient during development. Requires a server. We've had a server this whole time, we just haven't been using it. So make sure if you do build yourself a server that you're actually using it because that will help us out immensely, especially with bug fixes. So we'll continue on. We are very, very close to 6 stars. And as soon as we get there, we'll come back and have a little chat. All right, we are officially on our last contract. Now, I paused the game. I don't know why. But you'll notice we have a little 2 notification above our Manage Employees button. This is because we can train our employees in different things. So ChubbyPanda currently can be trained in all of these. Personally, my recommendation is to get 3 stars in 2D and system across the board. Audio, 2 stars is probably fine. And then eventually, as more tech unlocks throughout the game, you'll have more coming through here. You can also jump in here, go to the leader tab and the service tab. You'll also get points in those. But since we're coming up on our last contract and we're about to start developing our own product, I would like to get education out of the way before we finish this contract. We have 11 months to finish this project, which we're absolutely going to smash through. So I'm not too worried about that. I'm going to pause the game before it switches over to the next day. We're going to go ahead and send ChubbyPanda off to learn 3 stars in 2D programming. That'll give him a 15% speed boost for 2D code. We'll send him off to do that. We'll also send him off to do 3D art, and that will be absolutely fantastic. And then for Sage, she has some points in leadership. Now, we could go for more socialization or start with multitasking. Socialization is great for increasing your team composition. If we jump into our managed teams, you can see that our composition is currently at 196. Our cohesion is actually really low. I don't understand why that would be the case. They should all be friends with each other. We did just hire someone, so that could be the reason. But yeah, that is insanely low. Our composition is so high. But yeah, I guess these guys aren't all friends yet. But if we jump into Sage and go to Educate, if we do socialization, that will mean the people will become friends faster, boosting up their cohesion and boosting our overall effectiveness. Multitasking is okay. It helps to improve effectiveness with different types of things. The first one is for support and marketing. Second one is for development, and the third one is with all tasks. We are never going to get to 3 stars with multitasking with Sage because she only has 2 points left to spend. So we could max out socialization have no multitasking, and I think that's what we'll do, just so that we can be as efficient as possible. So we'll send her off to do both of those. ChubbyPanda also has 1 more point available to spend. Well, actually, he has 9 points available to spend in development design, but we're not going to worry about hardware, so we're just going to leave that for the moment. They will both take 2 months off to get those done. Hopefully that doesn't slow this project down too much, and that will be a-okay. Currently only have 1 person in the office because Gavin called in sick, but that's fine. We need 3 iterations here. We'll go ahead and promote that to development, and then we should be at 6-star business reputation. So we'll be back once all of that has happened. And as we finish this contract, we make a cool 1.2 mil from that contract. We have $2 million in the bank, but we're actually worth 3.1 million with all our stocks. Now, we could go ahead and buy some more shares in this company here, Yoon Digital. They're asking for 1.3 million for 2.6% of their company. That's a little bit rich for me, so I'm going to close out of that. We do own 0.3% of their company, but we're just going to hang on to that for the moment. Everything else is looking fantastic. I believe that this business reputation will go up to 6 stars with that contract being complete. It is now 6 a.m. on January 1984, and we have done some work. We've been working for 4 years now, just on contracts alone. We've made $2.9 million. That is more than enough to launch our own product. But to see that, you're going to have to come back in the next episode. Just to recap, today we set up our company, we got our founders organized, we hired 2 employees, we did a whole bunch of contract work to get our business reputation up to 6 stars. We've got 1.7 in the bank, 2.9 net worth. From here, we start building games. That is what we're going to focus on in the next episode. If you have enjoyed the episode, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and leave a comment for the sake of engagement. Really helps out the channel. Also, go ahead down to the description below. Check out our merch store. We have some really cool merch there available for you guys. Also, join the Discord if you would like to chat about games, chat about anything. We have fur babies up on there. And yeah, that's about it. Until next time, happy building, happy developing. Bye, guys.